Hello and welcome to the Creatively Geeky Show. I'm your host for the evening, Eugene Stevens. I'm joined by Kris and Ray. How are y'all doing?
Tired.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm good. I've
Good.
been energized from work this week, so
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I could not,
No, you.
but I work at home, so it's fine.
Why energized?
We did some training, and it's all around. So our company's really starting to embrace it's called HOP, which is Human and Organization Performance, and the whole basis is to implement changes and to find out how to improve your processes. You go to your employees and you ask them what they would change and what they would do, and you start implementing some of those small changes. But a lot of it started around incidents. Like if there was an incident, the go-to is blame the worker, because why don't you just follow the rules?
Right.
So if you follow the rules, it's fine. You'll be fine. Well, sometimes rules don't make sense, and sometimes the way we set things up are designed, engineered away, and it makes sense in this world. But when you actually put it into practice, it doesn't work that way.
Yep.
And the only way to learn and get better about it is have the people that are doing it all the time give you the way forward, right? The path forward. So that's what a lot of the training was about. And so one way to do that is called a learning team. And so we have that's what the training was all about, is performing a learning team and going through and asking those questions. And basically what my job is when we do these learning teams is you get to learn. You're asking questions, but you're not trying to solve anything. You're just asking the questions to come out with what are the big things that are eating their lunch, and how do we solve those? And so you come up with the solutions with the team. So yeah, it's really good. It's all up my alley. I'm like, yes. So yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
So the way a business should run.
Yes.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Imagine that. So, well, this is our media catch-up episode, as I like to refer to it. So we have our four things: what we've been watching, what we've been listening to, what we've been thinking about, and what we've been doing. I guess we'll start with our normal, which is what are we watching? Would anyone like to go first?
I can't say how I enjoyed it, but
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
No,
I haven't seen it yet, so
no spoilers. It's an emotional roller coaster
that's what I've heard.
and worth every watch.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if there's any way I can watch it this weekend. I don't think that's gonna happen. Just because Sunday is Mother's Day, so I don't really plan on taking the boys. If I was planning on taking the boys, that might actually work out, because I'd be like, hey, you want 3 hours at the house by yourself? So
Mother's Day, quiet time.
so who knows? I'll have to figure out a time to go see it. I mean, I can't imagine going to see it during the week, with me still in work. But who knows? That may have to happen, because the weekend after that, I have an event. So I'm like, man, I really need to see this, but I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to see it. So
Go during the week before it gets spoiled for you.
okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. So
Yeah.
but yeah, everyone else I know who's seen it. My fellow Ghostbusters, we had an event last weekend, and of course that's when it premiered, and I had to duck around some people. Then just was like, nope, I haven't heard it, or I haven't seen it yet. So, yeah. Kris, what have you been watching?
Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton story.
Oh, okay.
So for those who don't know, been living under a rock, Bridgerton is a Regency show on Netflix based on a series of books by the author Julia Quinn. And there's been 2 seasons so far, and because of the success of that, they did the spinoff. So Bridgerton takes place during King George III's rule. He was also known as Mad King George, which was in the late 18th century, right around the time of the American Revolution. Was it the American Revolution? Anyways, they were figuring their shit out. They're trying to annex themselves from Britain, and it's about him and marrying this princess named Princess Charlotte, who becomes Queen Charlotte. And in Bridgerton, they make her a black woman, and it's all about. It's called The Experiment, having this black princess, and then all of a sudden, all these people of color have lands and titles, and what does that look like, and things like that, which was really cool. And it's also cool that Princess Charlotte was actually a real person. They had 15 kids. Yeah, she was 17 when they got married, and had only known each other for 6 hours before they got married. Like, she was specifically chosen for him because she came from this small province in Germany and didn't really know a lot about politics and things. So she was supposed to be this perfect mate for him because she just didn't know anything. That didn't turn out to be true. And so this is King George and Queen Charlotte are actually the grandparents of Queen Victoria, who that was their only grandchild. Out of the 15 kids.
Wow.
The daughters didn't marry, and if they did marry, they couldn't have children. And then all the sons were philanderers and had like dozens of illegitimate children that could never claim a throne. Just the one, and it was Princess Victoria. There we go. Anyways, I just love it. Obviously, been rambling. It is a bit saucy, not as much as the first season, which was a lot. We all have to remember that these women, while they are women actresses, the characters are actually teenagers. So it is a little weird. But I have noticed that Shonda Rhimes, who developed this, has been definitely very intentional with making women the focal point of the pleasure. So it's not all about what the men's, how the men are feeling. It is and it isn't, but it's mostly female based. And what I've noticed, particularly with this one, is that the actresses are more covered, whereas the men are more naked. Like, you get a whole back nude scene from the actor who plays King George, and then you see bare skin, but no body parts of the actress who played Queen Charlotte. So I noticed that she's moving into this intentional role of it being more female based, which is very interesting to watch. And
okay, fair enough. I know Christy enjoyed the first season. I don't know if she ever finished the second season or not.
There's some people who watched the first season were like, holy crap, yeah. And then the second season's nothing like the first season in terms of its raunchy level. They don't even kiss till like the second last episode, which I preferred. I'm like, oh my God, okay, if I see like, there's got to be some plot here. We can't just keep seeing rolls in the hay. I can't do this.
Otherwise, it's just
I'm just watching softcore porn. I need to shut my drapes. Like, I don't watch this in the middle of the day. There was very little story. The second season was much more storied, much more character development. I preferred that. And then the third season that's coming out, I think later this year, will also be more character.
Game of Thrones was kind of like that too, where the more seasons went on, the less there was.
Thank God, because that was a lot.
Oh yeah, those first several seasons were like every episode.
I don't know how to feel about this. I'm a little uncomfortable.
Well, it's hard too because there's some series that we would love Quinn to watch, like The Witcher, and I'm like, dude, you can watch. I'm not watching it with you.
Can't watch it with you.
I'm not watching it with you.
Not the first season.
Nope. Nope. Third? Yeah, okay. Not the first.
What are you watching, Eugene?
Yes.
The thing that I was going to bring up is so my boys and I just finished bringing us completely up to date on Star Wars. We just finished the Bad Batch season 2. I love watching. I mean, it is still focused for children, but I love watching things that make them ask questions, and that's what this season is doing. So, in this season, Order 66 has already happened, and the Empire is basically phasing out clones. They're like, they were accelerated in their growth, and that means they're also accelerated in their aging. And so the Empire is starting to rapidly pull them out of service and kind of just leaving them out there to hang. And there's a senator at one point that is bringing up the question of, we can't just not do anything for these soldiers. These soldiers, fought for, what was at the time the Republic and now the Empire, and you can't just not take care of your soldiers whenever, they're no longer in battle. And I'm just like, oh my God, they're like addressing actual things. So it's been interesting talking to my boys about that, talking about how that is a real thing that happens in real life.
Yeah.
But the story is good. The beginning of the season is definitely a little more kiddie, and then as it goes on, it definitely gets a little more focused, a little more adult. But yeah, and it ended on a cliffhanger, and Nicholas hates cliffhangers, especially whenever it's, Dad, are they doing another season? I'm like, yep, they've announced another season. So they're working on it. They've announced another season. So I'm like, I have no idea when it's going to come out, and I haven't even tried to broach the thing about, well, there's this thing called a writer's strike. So,
Be a couple of years.
yeah, it's me. I hope it is. I'll be honest with you. I hope it is, because we don't need Hero season 2 or Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen again, because those were things that were accomplished, air quotes around that, during the last writer strike. And Transformers kept going as bad as it was, but that killed Heroes. That first season of Heroes was fantastic, and that second season was
brilliant.
such garbage.
Brilliant. Yeah, and then it just shouldn't have been.
But no, I've really enjoyed it. And in fact, I heard the other day on a podcast that they have the script written, all the scripts written and filed for Andor season 2. So technically, they could start working on it.
Okay.
There is rumored that there might be a I don't know if it was producers, but definitely director strike.
Oh.
Those tend to not last very long at all, but also in solidarity with the writers.
Yeah.
But the main thing is the guy who directed, and I can't remember his name, the guy who did Andor, means he could feasibly go ahead and start shooting it, but he would not be allowed to change anything.
Yeah.
And on set, and apparently he did quite a bit of that, and so they're like, he's probably going to be like, no, we'll wait, because I want to tinker whenever I feel like I need to tinker. So
I know that there was some discussion around Deadpool 3, and Ryan Reynolds wouldn't be able to ad-lib based on this whole writer's strike. So
wait.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
That's like, that's how it was written. That's how I read it. Look,
yeah.
I don't know. I understand the strike. I get that they deserve what they deserve. Absolutely. And it's about time that these multi-billion-dollar companies start paying their employees properly. I'll leave it at that.
Oh yeah, I'm totally in the court for the writers. I don't think they're asking for anything out of balance by any means. I think everything that they're asking for is pretty on par. Supposedly, like the people who this is going to hurt the most are like Disney and HBO and stuff, and companies not like Netflix, on the other hand, because they were smart and have pulled, they have diversified, around the world. They could be like, well, maybe we'll just start putting in some more stuff from Japan or from Taiwan, which would be interesting if they start pushing additional stuff that actually has a good benefit to it. But on the other hand, they're also the 800-pound gorilla. So if they don't want to budge, there's not going to be any budging happening. So it's funny because we're in such a different world since the last time it happened. I think the last time it happened was like 98, I think is what they said, that we had a large writer strike in the U.S. And the other thing is just like, there's these things called like YouTube and Twitch, and it's entirely possible to be like, well, there's nothing new on these stations. Let me see what's on there. And because I'll be honest, I finally have come to admit most of my watching of video stuff is YouTube now. Because I usually watch at least a half hour, sometimes an hour, sometimes more, while I'm at work, depending on what I'm doing. And when I'm at home, I watch maybe an episode of Seinfeld and maybe an episode of something else with the boys. So maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour at night, but definitely that just of YouTube. And because, there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you can find it. So.
Yep.
But yeah. So anyway, so that's what we've been watching. It's funny. This segment may start drying up here. Depending how things go, we'll have to see. Let's move on to what we've been listening to. Ray, what have you been listening to?
So I was going to say the book that we're listening to, but no. So I started a new podcast, well, new to me podcast.
Mhm.
Funny Because It's True with Elise Myers. Elise Myers is a content creator, I guess the best way to put it, that I've been following on Instagram for quite a while. I love her honesty. I love, like, she's going through pregnancy right now, and she's being totally honest about it. I've been listening to her talk about her embarrassing stories through going through like that way. And she's really interesting person to listen to because she is so honest about how she views the world. And she actually had Rainn Wilson on her podcast last week, I think it was. That was entertaining, and how it all starts off is, so she has ADHD and she hadn't taken her meds yet, and so then they started talking about her husband's gone off to go get the pills for her, and Rainn Wilson made a comment about snorting it, and she said, well, actually you should, like, what they say to do is like the whole
stick it up your butt
part, and so now she's actually on Instagram. She's reacting. She's like, "How is this happening? Why am I talking to Rainn Wilson about sticking drugs up my ass?"
He just went with it, though.
He went with it. Oh yeah.
I saw that clip, and he just rolled with it.
So and you know what? So it's just nice that like, she's a really creative person, and she's a beautiful singer. She's got some really nice stuff out there, but I appreciate her honesty in life. So
nice,
yeah,
interesting. Kris, what have you been listening to?
I also follow Elise Myers on Instagram, and she's a kook. She's super cute. She's adorable. She's got a little son named August. She's not a family content creator. She doesn't show her son or anything like that because he's a toddler. But it's been very interesting to hear her views on pregnancy because they were not mine when I was pregnant. And it's just interesting to hear another woman's view. We both were very uncomfortable in pregnancy, but for like different reasons. Anyway, I'm not listening to that. There's this podcast. I've been listening to it for like a few months now. And I originally followed her on YouTube because she's a content creator, but she specifically with interior design, and I'm in my interior design phase right now. Her name is Caroline Winkler, not related to Henry Winkler, and her friend from school, they grew up together. Her name is Jessica DeBakey, and they have a podcast called Not For Everyone. And both of them are the same age. They're in very different, not very different, but they're in different points of their life. They have very different viewpoints of the world. And it's just awesome to hear two women talk about life and be really honest and very giving. And it's hilarious because Carolyn's very negative, which is what I relate to. I'm a very pessimistic person by nature. The world is out to screw you. It's just a matter of when and how badly. That's what I grew up with, and that's all I know. And then her friend Jessica is very optimistic, and she just loves everybody. She thinks it's all great, and she's a very positive, upbeat view of life. So they call it. It's an existential podcast told from one lover and one hater, and they know they're not for everyone, and it's just. Neither of them have kids. Neither of them are married, but it's just interesting how and I'm like 10 years older than they are, but I relate to them. I don't know. I just really appreciate their honesty and their candor, and they're smart. They're so smart. And it just makes me happy that there is this, whether we're given permission or not, women are like, I'm just going to fucking tell you how it is. And we're all just going to put it out there. And if you like it, great. If you don't, that's cool too. But, it's time to just be just be truthful and be honest about it all. And it doesn't have to be pretty, and it doesn't have to be nice. Because when social media first came out, we were adults.
Yeah.
But we also didn't know what the hell we were doing, and we were just excited. We're like, look, it's a brand new shiny toy.
Yep.
And I remember I was 25, and I got on Facebook. And I wasn't quite pregnant with Quinn yet, and it was just like,
yeah, what a different world.
It was so different because it slowly just got more and more terrible. And being a mom at that time, at the very beginning, it was great because that's how we got together with moms and stuff like that. But then you slowly start comparing the pictures, and then people start getting judgy, and then everything's got to be polished, and everybody's got to say, anyway, so these women who were teenagers when all that was starting, and now women are like, no, we're not doing anything polished here. We're saying all the things. Some of it, their first episode, I was like, what am I listening to? Because they're talking about their kinks, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what to do with any about that. But it's such a safe space to just say it. And they have different segments. One's called Petty Complaints. Like, I have a petty complaint. It's so small, but it like bugs them. One of them, it's V-neck T-shirts on men. Like, I don't get it, but I hate them. Oh yeah, no, that would be a huge no for one of them. The other, but a long sleeve crew neck, forget it. They're gonna date you, like that kind of stuff. And then they have what to do's, which is like advice, like what would you do about this thing? And they have people submit questions and stuff, and they talk about one talks about their day in life, the other one talks about work life and family life, and just what it's like to be an adult and have parents who you have one relationship with, or a certain kind of relationship, adult siblings, what that's like. And so it's on, and it's been helping me figure out who I am as a person, just listening to these other women just be honest about themselves. Because I'm learning how to do that, is figuring out who I am as a person and be honest about it, and truthful, and also intentional about it. The more I am, the more I'm gonna fucking do it. So that's what I've been doing.
Nice.
What happens is when you become more of yourself, it has a ripple effect where it basically gives permission to other people around you to be themselves too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what they're doing, and I like it.
Nice. What's funny is I'm usually the person who's like talking about a podcast or a book or something that I'm listening to. I've actually been listening to a little bit of music. So I don't remember if the last episode I talked about the Tetris movie. Loved it. It's fantastic on Apple Plus. I really enjoyed the music in it, so that I've been going into the soundtrack for it. And some of the songs on it's awesome. There are some songs that traditional songs everyone knows, like the Final Countdown by Europe is on there, and it was in the trailer and everything else. But like it has different versions of Holding Out for a Hero. There's a Japanese version. There's also a Russian version on here, and it's just interesting to kind of hear that. But the song that I've just kind of really gleamed onto, and I don't even know how to say the group's name. It's a K-pop group, aespa, Hold On Tight, and it uses a very rocking version of the Tetris theme in the background, and I adore it. I think it's freaking awesome, and I've been listening to that on and off. The other thing is I've added there's a couple of things I've added to, like some of the Ghostbuster mixes and stuff. Just I've been doing a lot of events and stuff, and usually in the background, if I'm working on a prop or something, kind of throw in that mix and have it going on in the background. So, in particular, there's let me pull it up real quick. It's funny. The group is actually, there was a Ghostbusters VR experience thing that happened, I think, when 2016 came out. And in the commercial for it, this group did a cover of Somebody's Watching Me. And it's kind of become part of in context for Ghostbusters or whatever. The name of the group is the Flux Capacitors, so that should tell you the type of music they're into and stuff. So to the point, they actually announced the other day that they're doing they're doing a new theme song for Ghostbusters News. So that should be interesting. I'm kind of want to see what they're going to end up coming with that. So, but yeah, it was. I've actually been listening to a little music here and there whenever I'm not listening to a podcast or a book. Or in fact, I just listened to another book and finished it. And the other credit that I have is Joseph's book, and I'm like, I don't want to read it yet. I'm not. It's not that I'm not looking forward to it. I just don't want to read it yet. And then because we still have a little bit of time before that episode, and I'm just like, I don't want to forget what we're doing before then. So I'm going to push it off a little bit further to see if I can.
Well, you do read at double speed, so
Yes, and that book's only 10 and a half.
So yeah, you got 5 hours of listening. So,
and I didn't.
So see, I'd rip it through it in a day, and I just got to make sure I can remember it. So
I only have 2.5 hours left.
oh, okay.
Advice.
The other thing that the book that I was listening to actually is Good Clean Fun by Nick Offerman, and it's talking about his shop or whatever. And yeah, I think it was only 9 or 10 hours, so I think I finished it in a day. But it was good. It was interesting. It's kind of funny. On the last episode of the Marginally Geeky show, Sean was like, "Nope, I think I'm done with Nick Offerman," and I'm just like, "That's my next book is here." So
yeah,
but it's not political at all. It's literally just him talking about life at the shop, and he does give people a lot of praise on other people. So including the people he works with, other woodworkers, and so anyway, so that's what we've been listening to. Ray, what have you been thinking about?
So when we were down, we just came back from a vacation down to Florida.
Week,
and while we were down there, we got to go on. Well, not go on. It was we got to walk through a pretty cool park amusement ride sort of thing. It was a walking tour called Poseidon's Fury. And
the ride is now officially shut down indefinitely. It shut down yesterday.
No, indefinitely. It's closed.
Yeah.
It will no longer be available because they are renovating it.
Yeah.
It is completely wiping it out. So
okay.
We're one of the last few people, I like to say anyway, to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last time you could go through it was today or yesterday.
It was yesterday.
So there's rumors about what they're going to renovate this area into. I'm also thinking, so I've been thinking about that, but and to tie it in with, so Universal is creating a third park. It's the Epic Universe. It's going to have a whole bunch of cool things. There's going to be like the Nintendo world and a new Harry Potter section, Fantastic Beasts or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that Quinn and I, when we're walking through this world, what Poseidon's adventure is in, man, Zelda would be a really cool addition, and that wouldn't take too much to change that area into it. I think they could really make something fun out of that. So, so I've been thinking about that, and yeah, it's just fun stuff. I love amusement parks. I love the history of them and everything, but also what they could do and what could come.
Cool. Yeah, I would love to go visit that Nintendo park, and
in California.
a Zelda park would be fantastic too.
It looks really cool.
Yeah.
So especially after watching the movie, it'd be fun to actually walk into that world. So
yeah.
We went to Florida, which does not have it's not there yet.
Yeah.
When it comes out in 2025, we may have to go back. Don't tell the kids.
Nice. Kris, what have you been thinking about?
What have I been thinking about?
Pardon me.
Not a lot. A lot and not a lot, if that makes any sense. Because right now I'm really tired, so there's not a lot. But any given moment, it's a lot.
It's everything.
It's everything.
Fair enough.
I'll just piggyback on Ray when we went to Universal. It's I think about why, because in general, like when we went to England, it was almost the moment we got off the plane and into England, I was like, there's something happened to me. I'm like, it's odd. I feel very at home here. And there's this whole theory that DNA has memory, right? Like that whole Just that whole line of thinking. And it's never happened before or since. And when we were down in Florida, it's nice. This is our...
Oh, it's a great vacation.
That was my fourth time going ever my whole life. The third time with the kids. And I like it. I enjoy it. But there's something about it. I don't feel like I'm at home. I don't feel like I live there. I love going. It's very fun, but it's a novel thing. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm ready to go. And then when we walk through the main part of Universal and I walk into Diagon Alley, there's something happens and it's the same thing. And I think it's because it reminds me of England. And I could just stand there literally all day and just walk, just do the circle. Just do the circle and go through all the little nooks and crannies and walk in all the stores and drink my lemonade and all that kind of stuff and watch the little performance shows and stuff and watch the dragon belt every 10 minutes and watch everybody go ooh and stuff because that's fun. But yeah, so when we were leaving, I felt sad, but it was also nice because I got to be in England again. And when we were at our condo in Florida, the whole thing was like, this is nice, but like, I don't know, I'm ready to go home. I'm good. Yeah. So it's just interesting how
where when we were in England, it was like, how can we
live here? Like, how does this happen? Because there was just everywhere we went, minus a few places. Like, because when we went down to Folkestone, there's a big chunk of Folkestone.
Not Folkestone.
It's ugly. It's part, but you get past that point, and it's super cool and quirky, and I get why people go there. But when we were going to Canterbury and all the different boroughs of London, it was just like, no, like, but seriously, how do you move here? Because it was, I don't know, there was just, and we both felt it. And there was just something about it, but we haven't felt it since. And it's just interesting that you go on vacation and it's fun and it's novel, but you're ready to come home. And that's what it was like for here. And you're like, interesting. That's what
unless you're in Diagon Alley.
Unless I'm in Diagon Alley. And then I'm like, no, I'm good. I could be here. And then they went they wanted to go on the mummy ride. I did not want to go on the mummy ride. And I'm like, I'll meet you guys there. I'm gonna get myself a drink and I'll get Quinn a drink because we wanted our last Harry Potter drink. And because it was a half hour wait for them, I'm like, I'll meet you there, it's fine. And I just sit there all by myself and I'm just like, I could just be here by myself and just walk into it. And I was walking around the park by myself and I watched a couple of street shows and the construction drummers just holding my drinks like this and just like really, really happy to just wander around, be there by myself. And it was really cool. I could wander around Universal by myself and probably be pretty friggin' happy about it. Yeah. Which is good for me because that means for me that I've been working on my anxiety and I felt safe where I was and I wasn't concerned about not being able to find Ray and the kids. And there wasn't any stress about that, which is nice. And part of it is because of how old the kids are and I'm not.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say it was nice. The kids wanted to go on a ride that we didn't want to, and so like we said, you guys go to that side of the park. It's fine. It's on the other side. You're fine. You go. You know where we are. We're right here. And we'll see when you get back. And we did. And we waited, and they were a little bit longer than what they thought they would be, and that's fine. It was really good. The Mummy, though, we got to do a backstage tour.
Oh yeah,
at the Mummy.
Yeah.
If you ever go, ask for a backstage tour with one of the people with the radios. And if they can, they'll take you through areas that you can't normally see, and it's totally free. They'll give you information and stuff about the park ride, how it works, what's going on, all that fun stuff. And then if they are able to, they'll get you into the fast lane as well. And again, it's all for free. It's all fun.
Not every ride has it, and there's no set times. Like it's just an arbitrary. You walk up to somebody with the mic and you just say,
"It's a crapshoot."
Yeah. Can we get a backstage tour? So we did that for the Mummy, Men in Black, which was a bit of a letdown. Because it was literally like you walk into the Men in Black ride and you go up on this boardwalk kind of thing, and down in this pit is the office, right? So you get to see, obviously, they have the big aliens there at the little computer, and there's some desks and stuff, and then you go to the ride. Well, all the backstage tour is you just go into that pit, and you get to like sit and touch everything.
Yeah, you sit in the chairs.
That was the whole ride. That's the tour.
You sit in the chairs, or you go and you act like you're typing away and working at MIB, and
sit in the chairs,
and then your tour guide will give pictures or take pictures of you in front of the aliens, and
that was it.
It's fun.
And then we got backstage tour on Gringotts, which wasn't really a tour so much as you just got to go into the express lane.
Well, yeah. So the person did apologize. He said that it got a little bit busier than they were hoping, and so he had to leave. But he said normally I would travel down through this way, but he did give us like, okay, you go. This is this. This is that, and kind of talk a little bit more about some stuff. So yeah. But the Mummy was probably my favorite tour. So yeah, we're
still coming down off this vacation.
A little bit.
I had a vacation hangover. That's the other thing I was thinking about, because this past week I'm just like. It was especially last week. I'm just like, I cannot get back into the groove of things. I can't get back. What is wrong? I'm tired. I don't want to do anything. I'm like being schlumpy. And then it's like, I have a vacation hangover. This has never happened before. I'm not the type of person, I feel very blessed to say this, I don't need a vacation for my life. I'm not somebody who's like, oh, everything will be better once I go on this vacation. I'm not that person. And so I've never experienced a vacation hangover until this one, where I'm just like, I'm done. Why am I cranky? Why is everything crap? Over. I literally laid down on the kitchen floor. Like, I was just like, I'm done. I don't know what else to do. I'm laying down on the floor. And then he laid down beside me, and we just kind of chilled there. Just like, all right, we'll just chat. Did the soft kitty, warm, just pet me, make sure I'm okay. And
then I think I went and got dinner after that.
You got dinner, because I didn't want to make dinner. I'm just like, I don't know what it is. I have no energy. I don't want to do it. And yeah, it was the vacation hangover.
I'll go get dinner. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so that was the first.
Good husband.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
It's funny that you're talking about moving to, one of these places like England or Diagon Alley. That's actually what I've been thinking about. So, Christy likes to spend the evenings in her spare time house hunting, imaginary house hunting, and our current plan is that
move to Ontario.
In about 3 years, moving to hopefully what we're considering our final home, our retirement home, essentially.
Yeah.
The main reason we love our house, we love our current house, and in all honesty, we're not ready to leave this house yet. That being said, she would really like at least one more bedroom, so that we would have an extra bedroom, so that if someone wanted to come visit, they could.
Mm-hmm.
We do have it situated so that, like, when her younger brother came to visit, it was like, well, one of the boys has to, sleep in the other bedroom, sleep with his brother, and, so we can handle it, if that happens or whatever. But we need either a third garage, or I need a place for a shop. So those are really the two big things. We would like it to be more open than what our house is now. There is a little bit of a division between the kitchen and the living area, and we'd love it to just be one big giant area, just so that's how when we do entertain or have people over, that's just kind of how we hang out. So, that being said, so like I said, she'll occasionally send me houses, and she's like, look at this one. I'm just like, oh, that's cute. How much? Oh, 1.5 million. Yeah, that's nice.
Oh, jeez. She's being realistic.
Really realistic. And anyway, she sends me one last week before, and it literally was almost everything we're looking for. And the price was not bad. And she's like, I'm going to contact my friend who's a realtor and just see what she says, just see what information she can get. And within like the next day, there was already like 5 or 6 bids on this house.
Mm-hmm.
So needless to say, we weren't going to move in there. The other thing is like one of my other little stipulations I may have to bend on, we'll have to say, is I do not want an HOA, homeowners association. John Oliver actually did a thing on homeowners associations a few weeks ago, and they should flat out be illegal. Some of the shit they can do. Like there was one in Texas that This woman got sick, got behind on her dues. They ended up piling on a bunch of late fees, and the HOA foreclosed on her house and then bought it from her. And I'm just like, that cannot be legal,
No.
but it is.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so I was like going through the HOA on this, and I was like, Christy, we wouldn't have been able to move there anyway because like one of the things it says is 4 animals max. I'm like, so who are we getting rid of?
Yeah.
And just some other little things, but she was talking to she's been looking at some other builders and stuff here locally, and she was talking to a guy. Now, granted, who knows? It's a salesman, so who knows what But he's like, the market is not doesn't seem like it's going back, and it looks like this is kind of the new norm. He's like, I know when we built our house, this you could consider our current house a starter house. It was just under $150,000. Now, if anyone's listening to this and it's just like, is what? Yes, I live in a part of Texas that is extremely affordable to live in, which is one of the reasons I live here. But since COVID, a starter house in the same location, roughly about the same size, is now $100,000 more. It's now $250,000. That's like what a starter is.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's still a drop in the bucket compared to a lot of places in the country. So take this with a grain of salt. But anyway, thinking about that and the fact that we're not making extra house payments right now, so I'm just making the normal payment. It's like, well, I want to retire in about 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
If we did move sooner than later, then that means the payments that I'd be making wouldn't be on this house, making a little dent. Instead, I'd be making them on my final house, and may still be a little dent, but at least it would be towards the final house.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're not making any hard plans right now, but it is definitely something that she's looking a little more realistic instead of the $1 million+ houses.
Let's do it.
And I'm
$150 million house.
Yeah. And I'm actually entertaining the idea. Like I said, neither one of us want to move, but it's one of those things. It's like if serendipity hits and we did happen to find just the right thing and it was the right price, we might be foolish not to go ahead and jump on it, you know?
Yep.
So, because it gives me a headache just thinking like, well, then we'd either have to build this house or we'd have to buy it, and then we have to sell our current house, and then we have to move and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, I don't want to do any of that shit. But anyway, but no, so that is something that has entered my mind. And like I said, for the longest time it was, this is the date, this is what we're shooting for. And now it's like, oh, maybe the date's a little more flexible. So something that I'm kind of keeping in the back of my mind now. And it is what it is. So we'll see. Believe me, I'll let y'all know if I'm like, yeah, so funny thing.
In Ontario.
Yeah, no. I have to finish working for the school district first to get my full retirement, dude.
I'm
so,
I forgive you.
Anyway, so let's talk about what we're doing. Ray, what have you been doing?
Well, Kris kind of hinted on this one, and I am recovering. It was there was a long drive back.
He drove the entire time.
Yeah.
Mostly because he loves it, and
I do.
also he's a terrible passenger because on account of the ADHD, it's a lot of touching of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Very distracting to watch as a driver.
Where when I'm driving, I'm able to focus because there's so much happening around me that I'm able to, okay, this is that, there's that, and like it helps. I don't zone out.
No.
I focus, and so driving to me is really nice.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. But that last bit home was like, okay.
Yeah.
I bet.
The border went really well. I
Yes.
think we were only in line for maybe 10 minutes. So yeah.
20, I think.
No,
but,
I don't think we were in line for that long.
Yeah, so got home at a decent time, and then we've been recovering. We've been trying to get back into the swing of things. I had 2 days of work last week, and then I've had 3 this week. This week was reinvigorating at work. Like I said, the whole training thing has been fantastic. But the other thing that I'm doing just because it's still fun to do, is checking the wait times at Universal Studios and being like, oh, it's only a 5-minute wait here. Oh, that's 25. Oh, this is a bad day. That's a 4-hour wait. Unless, well, I didn't see 4 hours, but it was like there was over a 200-minute wait at one point, but it was
Wow.
He did this the last time we came home from Universal, and
for like 6 months.
Yes, it was for a long time that he kept checking the wait times.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that I love. So I kind of evaluate how I did with selecting my timeline. I didn't do great this time around.
See, he says that, and I think it was awesome.
Only because I'm looking at wait times now, and I'm like, oh fuck, this week would have been better because this is only, and this is only.
Did you compare it to the weather?
It's similar weather to what we had.
More rain.
The only change that I would do is I would go to. I'd like to go in January or at the very beginning of February is when I'd like to go, because I think it'd be fun to look at Universal and all that stuff around Christmas time. So, but I know January and February are more their slower times, so that's why I'm suggesting that.
They would be. I mean, I went to the only time I've ever been to Disney World was at Christmas time, and you're definitely still walking around in shorts and everything else. So it's it's warm enough, but it's definitely not deadly.
I'm just saying.
I like winter. I like being cold.
Yeah.
Being hot is like anxiety inducing for me. It's
but it's not hot. It was hot when we were there.
Well, listen,
it
you and the
January.
mistress can go to frickin' Universal.
I'll let her know.
Kris, what have you been doing?
So
besides recovering.
Besides recovering and trying to figure out what the hell's happened to me. Also, Logan's been off this week, sick. So she's been
just a cold.
It's just a cold. Yeah, she tested for COVID and she's fine that way. So she's had a cold. So she's been doing her school online and stuff, which has been interesting to watch her be both sick, feel guilty for having 2 weeks off, and they had a PD day last week. So she was only at school for a day, 2 days. And then now this week she's been off so far and she's probably not going to school tomorrow. So that's been interesting to watch her toil with all of these things. I'm like, yeah. And exams are coming up next month, and it's just, and her teachers are loading her with research projects, and it's just like nothing's changed. It's still, it's a very familiar thing you're going through, buddy. And then the last 2 days I've been gardening my butt off, and I'm very tired. I'm so out of shape. We've got these weird little spots of lawn that serve no purpose, and it's just like 2 passes of the lawnmower. Like, why is this yard here? Because there's a garden right next to it. Why am I? And then a pathway. What's the point of this shard of lawn? So I've been trying to slowly kill the grass, and then I bought I bought 24 bags of mulch. And so hopefully that works and it kills it. I think it'll do like 90% of the job, and then I'll just have to do maintenance and stuff on it. But yeah, I've had full plans on Quinn helping me. No, I was like, no, fuck it. I'm going to do it now. Because we're also having family over on Friday. And my mom's a big gardener. Like, she's actually very, very good at it. She's a very talented gardener. So, you have the talented gardener coming over to your house. You better.
The judgmental talented.
She's judgy. However, it's not her yard, so it's fine. I really don't care. Like, look, Mom, look what I did. See, I did things. I can grow crap. She's amazing at it, though. Like, she's got a real talent for it. So we're trying to get that done before that happens and everything. So doing a lot of physical stuff the last couple of days when you're trying to recover from an emotional draining experience, good experience, but like emotionally draining, is apparently makes you really, really tired.
Yeah.
Each of us had a day down there except for Quinn.
Quinn was great. That kid,
Quinn was fine.
That kid got to do what he wanted to do, except on the last day he didn't get to go on the Velocicoaster.
Found out that he really enjoyed roller coasters, which is great. I'm all in.
Yeah.
Logan said that she really doesn't want to do roller coasters.
Fair enough.
And then you had a day, Logan had a day, and then...
meaning we each had a meltdown.
And then my final day, it was Saturday, and I was done with the rudeness. If I'm standing in line, don't cut me off. Don't cut in front of me. Don't be. So, and this was at the supermarket. Like,
Mm-hmm.
We're at Publix.
We're at Publix, and I'm waiting in line because Quinn wanted a sub, and I wanted there's chicken that I wanted. So I went and I stood in the line for the chicken area, and nobody was serving that area. So I went and stood in line with Quinn in the sandwiches area. We go through, and this guy and his wife cut everybody off, and the guy starts ordering sub after sub after sub, and like gets on the phone, was like, "What do you want on it?" And I'm like, "How did you get in front of all of us? You came up after we were here."
I had to walk away essentially
I
because
was
of the
fuming.
mood that was rolling off this man.
I
had
was
to walk
fuming.
away.
If I was in my own country, I would have said something. I was not in my own country, so I stayed quiet. So I'm fuming. Finally, they leave, and Quinn orders his sub, and I said, "And I just want 2 of those pieces of chicken." "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. This is the sub line. You're gonna have to wait over there and wait for somebody to help you out." And now there's a line over that way. I'm like, which pisses me off because the people that were 2 ahead of me got the pieces of that I wanted. And I'm like, mother. So I was done.
Yeah, sounds like it. I would have been too.
Yeah, we were all a little had our moments,
Yeah.
except for Quinn. Although I'm
Quinn-
sure
Quinn-
Quinn did, but he's
Yeah,
not.
he was internal.
He's an internal dude, not an external dude. So we would never really know.
Oh, you know what? You know what? I feel for him. He did have a bit.
When,
He had a panic moment. He bought a necklace.
oh, he did.
And somewhere in Ohio or Kentucky, it fell out of his pocket, and it's gone.
He spent his money on. He got it in the Jurassic Park gift shop, and it
So
was
it's
like
this claw holding
dinosaur
a marble.
claw.
And
really cool, but he wouldn't wear it. He just wanted to look at it. So he kept it in his pocket, and he still looked for it for like the whole week we were home trying to. Maybe he lost it in the car. So he'd do a double take when he was getting out of the car for school.
Yeah, so I've gone through all of the Universal Studios stores. I can't find it online at all. I was gonna call down and say hey, or message them at least and say, "Hey, I'm looking to buy another one of these. My son lost it, and we were just down there." Blah blah blah. If that doesn't work, I'll find him a substitute. But I think my next part will be reaching out into Universal Studios and just ask about where can I buy this from your stores, because it's not online.
Right. Yeah. I was gonna say your other option would be reach out to Lainey and see if she has anyone that's going to Universal anytime soon. Wouldn't mind picking one up for you. So
bad idea either.
Yeah, didn't think about that.
I'm gonna write that down. Ask Lainey.
Yes, ask Lainey about dinosaur. No, that could go really badly. Be like, all right, well, let me tell you. What have I been doing? We have 11 days left of school before they get out. I've been going through state testing. There's still more testing going on. And while that's going on, there's a lot of preparation. And I've got like inventory I have to do, and there's updates I have to do, but inventory and updates can't happen during testing. So once testing is up and running, I don't have anything to do. And so it's a lot of, if you've ever heard the term, especially if you've ever been in the military, you know the term hurry up and wait. That's what I've been doing. So while I've been hurrying up and waiting, I've been working on projects, and I have knocked out multiple prop things, and I'm really energized right now because some of the stuff I'm working on has turned out really cool. And this German group made this. It's an hour-long looping video, and I'll talk more about this on the next episode. But made this looping video of Vigo from the second Ghostbusters movie, and I saw it and I was like, man, that would be really cool if we had a TV we could put that on.
Yep.
One of my group members donated a TV. One of my group members built the frame, and I built the stand. And the little box that I bought for it lets you actually hook up a trigger mechanism. So we have 2 different things going. We have Vigo going, and he goes through his whole spiel. or I have it hooked up now to a switch so that he'll do his little smirk thing, and then goes back to the rest of the video. The other thing I looked at is I created a one-way mirror that goes on the front of it and loops a solid black video. But then when you trigger it, it looks like ghosts like trying to claw their way through the mirror, a la Answer the Call. And we got to take that to an event this last weekend, and it was a blast. We had a lot of fun with it.
Awesome.
Did manage to kind of freak out a little girl, but she was okay. Once she got to hold her proton pack and got to wear it and everything, she was cool with that. But yeah, I've actually got to work on a lot of projects, and I'm kind of energized right now because I'm actually knocking through some stuff. So who knows? Whenever we do our next episode here in a month, I may actually have quite a bit of things done on my to-do list. So, but we'll see. Yeah, just energized working on projects and getting stuff done. The Circle City Ghostbusters actually posted a picture the other day. If you remember from Afterlife, whenever Paul Rudd's character is in the Walmart, there's some of the little mini puffs that are on a Roomba. They took a Roomba and put some mini puffs on it and had it at their con, and I'm just like, so is it just a Roomba and you just let it kind of go? They're like, no, we gutted it and put an RC car in it. And I'm just like, does anyone in the group have a Roomba they're willing to give up? And sure enough, we have someone doing it. So
That's awesome.
We may have a new fun thing to do at a con whenever it gets a little on the quiet side. We may have to chase a Roomba around with some little mini puffs on it. So that could be a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're trying to get a lot of more interactive, more interesting little things like that going at our booth and stuff, because the more people we can pull in, the more money we can usually pull in for our charity and stuff. Like we raised $150 at this for 4 hours. I didn't think it was bad, especially considering it was a free comic book day. I really well. So
Great.
I'm hoping our next couple events will be somewhere around that ballpark. There's some bigger cons there's one in particular we're really trying to get into. And if we do, I have a feeling we will clean up at, because the people walking around are $1. Yeah, I can give $1. I just spent $50 on this comic book, or this $150 on this whatever. I can give you $1. That's not a problem. So yeah, we tend to do pretty well at cons. So, but yeah, we're just I kind of got some momentum and I'm rolling with it. So, but
Go for it.
Well, that is our show for the month, ladies and gentlemen. If you would please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, Google, Stitcher, wherever it is you listen to the show. You can find us at epicallygeeky.com, where you can find the rest of our shows, including the Epically Geeky Show, the Marginally Geeky Show, and the Sustainably Geeky Show. We're not very active on the socials, even though I've been doing like triple time with the Ghostbusters stuff, but still you can find us at Epically Geeky on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Where can we find you online, Ray?
The Reluctant Yeti on Instagram when I post, which is very rare.
Very rare.
On the socials.
No, I would like to post a little bit more, and then I have ideas about what you and I have talked about socials for our stuff as well. But
yeah,
I'd like to work on that too. So we'll figure that out.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I literally sat down and planned out a month of daily posts for Ghostbuster stuff. It's a lot easier when you actually have stuff to post with. Let me just tell you. Whenever you're like scratching your head going, what can I talk about? What can I go over? It's when you've got a plethora of pictures from, an event or whatever, it's just like, I just put up 9 pictures from this event and I still got 9 more for tomorrow. I can just keep going. So, but so it's been kind of fun. Kris, where can we find you online?
On Instagram at Moody Midlife.
She posts more than I do.
I do.
True. And as always, you can follow my individual wacky adventure online at Optimachine on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For everyone on the site, have a good night.